Hi guys, this is Scribbly again with another pen review, and today we're going to talk about a Waldmann pen. Waldmann is a brand that I have not yet reviewed before. Heads up, I do have a couple of Waldmann pens here on the review pile. So there will be one or two more reviews about Waldmann pens coming up, heading your way. Just for a little context, Waldmann is a German pen company, as you can see right here, made in Germany since 1918. So they've been around for a little over 100 years. And they're actually from an area in southern Germany called Pforzheim, which is a silver jewelry city, a city with a rich history in jewelry making, especially silver works and all that, which is why the Waldmann does specialize in making pens from silver. And it's not a long time ago that I've also reviewed for the first time an Otto Hood pen, and interestingly enough, Otto Hood is a company, just to give you a little bit of context and history there, that is actually also located around Pforzheim, not far away from Waldmann. I think it's only like around a 20-minute car ride between Waldmann and Otto Hood. So those two companies in very close proximity. As said, I think a couple of weeks ago, Otto Hood with the design 07, I think it was, design 07, made its first appearance on Scribbly. There will be another Otto Hood pen as well that I'm going to review soon. And now we start kicking it off here with Waldmann. Premiere of Waldmann here on Scribbly. Let's look at the packaging. This is the Waldmann typo logo. That's the, or typeface logo. That's the Waldmann logo in itself. Looks very nice. It's sort of a stylized W right here. Very nice black cardboard packaging. Opens like that. Opens like that, and then you get a full leather box out here saying Waldmann, same stuff than it says here on the box. Reflective metal closure here. You open the box up like this, right? Then inside here you have a packet of blue Waldmann ink cartridges. You have a little emblem here that says sterling silver 925, made in Germany, because the whole pen is made from sterling silver. Accordingly, you do get a silver polishing cloth right here, and you also do get a Waldmann warranty card with a 10-year worldwide warranty. Also very, very nice. So I think this is like a pretty neat overall package. Let's put all that stuff back right here, and let's have a look at this pen, which is called Concorde, Waldmann Concorde. It is not a flat top pen design really. It is also not really a cigar shaped pen design. Something in between. Pen is a little bit thicker right here, then tapers down. We'll look at that in a second. That's sort of like the overall shape that the pen does have. It is overall a smaller and also slimmer pen. I'm going to do some size comparisons in a bit, but let's look at the pen first. Let's cover it top to bottom. So we do not have really a finial. You have like a reflective, of course, because the pen is made from silver, top here. Then on that top here it does say Waldmann, made in Germany. You then have a clip here. That clip does say metal. I don't know why it says metal, but it does say metal. And it has the Waldmann logo here on it. It is a clip that is attached with a little ring here towards the cap. Nice clip shape, fairly unspectacular, very simple. It's a springy clip, not very tight, but also not too loose. Something that may slide in any shirt pocket or pen pouch rather effortlessly. Kinda nice. Then here on the side, we have a sort of frame right here. This is where then typically the engraving would go if you would choose to have the pen engraved. It says 925 for the sterling silver here, and then also a very small version of the Waldmann logo that you see right here, and then the whole barrel tapering down to a sort of like reflective blind cap right here is not a piston filler, it's a cartridge converter filler. Yeah, sort of like to match top and bottom a little bit design wise. So that's kind of nice. The pen then does have like sort of like a checkered or square pattern, which is also kind of nice because it does make the pen not as much of a fingerprint magnet, because I mean, if I, depending on how I angle the pen in the light, you do see some fingerprints, but the fingerprints are a lot less noticeable due to that pattern, as opposed to if the pen would be completely from you know, a shiny polished surface. So that's what we see right here. Then we pop off the cap, so it's actually a push on or pop off cap. The cap does have a inner cap, works very well to prevent the nib from drying out. I never had an issue with this pen drying out. And then you do see in my, you know, fairly large hands, you know that if you've seen a couple of my reviews, you know the M800, Pelikan M800 is a pen that rests very comfortably in my hand. You do see in my hand that this is like a pen on the shorter side of things. It does work for me, however, it's not too small, but for me personally, it shouldn't be any smaller. It also does have a fairly short and fairly slim plastic section that looks kind of nice and also provides a really nice grip. It's not slippery. You have like a tapered step down from the section here, so you can actually find your grip wherever you would like. That step down here does not bother me at all. And then you have like a number 5 size steel nib on here saying F for fine, 1918 for the founding year of Waldmann. The Waldmann logo on here, some scroll work, and a plastic feed down here. This is actually a very nice, true to the size fine nib. I'll do a writing sample in a second. Writes, doesn't have a lot of feedback. It's almost buttery smooth, very, very smooth, very, very pleasant writer, I have to say that. You can post the cap. Makes the pen a little bit top heavy because it's sterling silver. Provides a little bit of extra length though. I mean, it doesn't throw the balance off. I mean, depending on how you hold the pen and how large your hands are, the weight center actually rests right here in the web of my hand. So that's kind of okay. If you have smaller hands, I could imagine that the pen would get a little bit top heavy, but you know, it posts fairly deep down onto the barrel. So that's actually quite all right and makes it pretty nice and balanced. Overall, for a sterling silver pen, it's still a pretty lightweight pen, so it's definitely not an extremely heavy writer. That by no means. Size comparison. First to my standard size reference pen, a Lamy Safari. And there you already see what I meant when I said that this is a bit of a smallish pen. Maybe it's better to do it like that. Right, so it's a bit shorter, a fair bit shorter than a Lamy Safari. Let me post it just that you see what that looks like. I won't post the Lamy Safari because I think it doesn't really make sense to write a Lamy Safari posted. You know, that's what it would look like. Let's look at the sections in comparison for a second, because I said it's a fairly slim section. I mean, like, I think the section is probably, you know, around the size of, what can that be, a Caran d'Ache Écrit d'Or, or maybe a Waterman Hemisphere, or a Diplomat Traveler, or something like that. I actually popped out a Waterman Hemisphere right here. Let's do a quick size comparison to a Waterman Hemisphere right here as well. I don't think that there's too many reviews about this Concorde Waldmann pen, so maybe it's fair to do a little bit of size reviews. So here, size comparisons. Here you have the size comparison to a Waterman Hemisphere, so capped pretty much the same size. Uncapped also pretty much the same size, so it's like round about the ballpark of a Waterman Hemisphere. And look, the section, yeah, pretty much like a Waterman Hemisphere. I also do have a Pelikan M400 here. Let's go full circle here with one more size reference. Yeah, the Waldmann Concorde is a little bit longer than the Waterman, the Pelikan M400, M405 in that case. Let's look at what it uncapped. The Pelikan is slightly longer, but just 2 millimeters or something like that. Section comparison. Yeah, the Pelikan is already a kind of slim pen, but you see that it's still girthier than this Waldmann pen right here. Let's do a writing sample with this Waldmann towards the end of the review. I'll zoom in just a little bit. And there we go with this fine steel nib right here. Pen starts up right away. This is wonderful. Waldmann Concorde. Fine steel nib. I'll open the pen real quickly. Forgot to do that before. You can see it does fill with standard international cartridges or a converter. In that case, the pen did not come with a converter. I filled it with diamine blue black, which is one of my standard review inks. You see very nice threading inside here. Very well done, very well machined, tight tolerances. So very well made pen overall. And as said, that steel nib does write a true to the size, factory, fine, Western fine. So it's not on the wide side, it's not on the finer side. It's like a very nice reference fine. Very good. Very, very smooth, very pleasant writing experience. Let's see how sensitive the nib is to pressure. This is no pressure at all. There's a bit of pressure, so you see you can actually, it's quite a springy writing experience. You can actually, even without applying too much pressure, you can get a fair amount of line variation out of that nib, which I think is very, very interesting. Wetness. Yeah, it's a medium wet to wettish writer, I would say. Actually don't roll off here, actually a very, very pleasant writing experience. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I think there's only 2 or 3 other steel nibs that I think write equally well, and these could be the Diplomat steel nibs and Faber-Castell steel nibs. This one here is on par with those. It's actually a really, really beautiful writing experience. I don't want to stop writing with this little beauty here. Really nice. I must say, even though the pen, for me personally, is definitely on the slimmer side of things, the section is plenty long enough, but it's actually almost too slim for me personally to write with. But as said, I do prefer the dimensions of a Pelikan M800, so no wonder I also can't write with a Caran d'Ache Écriture really. But if that's not an issue for you, then this is like a really fantastic pen. So let's do a little overall assessment of this pen. So what do I think about it? Well, it's really a great pen. It's a cool design. It looks nice. It's nothing that I've seen really before. Yeah, it looks a little bit like an Écriture if you're not a fountain pen expert or something like that. But other than that, the all silver pen made from sterling silver, really cool. Really nice design, writes fantastically, very well machined, all good. Price is around 200 euros. Well, I mean, you know, 200 euros for a pen with a steel nib and a cartridge converter is a little bit on the steep side of things, but I think for this being like a sterling silver pen that will probably patina over time, and you could then polish it with a polishing cloth and all that, I think considering that it's a special material, probably even though it's a cartridge converter filled pen and it has a steel nib only, it's probably all right. I would say, I mean, it's a bit steep, but I would say it's an okay price, right? I mean, like if you like the design, it's certainly an okay price, I guess. The problem comes when you want to add a gold nib option. I mean, you can have that pen with a gold nib as well. Very beautiful bicolor dual tone gold nib. Let me show you what these Waldmann gold nibs actually look like. Just a second. This is the Précieux that I will still review in the future. This is what those nibs look like. I mean, that's a fairly large nib here. The one on the Concorde will be a little bit of a smaller nib, but that's sort of the nib design that you can expect, and which is fantastic. So I think that pen actually looks really nice with a gold nib, quite likely. The problem is that a gold nib actually doubles the price, so it sets you back another 195 euro or so, getting that pen to beyond 400 euro, which then definitely is completely out of the park for me. I mean, that's just then too expensive, I would say. Because for like, you know, 400 euro price range, you get a whole bunch of other pens that I would then probably prefer. So with the steel nib, all right. With the gold nib, no way. There's two other small things that disturb me with that pen, and unfortunately I have to point them out, because I mean, this is like a pen from a company that prides itself in handcrafting silver pens coming from a jewelry town and silver jewelry town. It's a 200 euro pen, so I expect everything to be perfect on that pen. There's two things that disturb me a little bit. They're not deal breakers, but I just noticed them straight away. One thing is, and I don't know if you have noticed that in the beginning, that Waldmann is not centered here. So I would expect that M actually to be above the clip right here, right? So the Waldmann starts here and then runs, so it's not centered. And you also see that the distance between the N and made in Germany and the distance between the Y and the beginning of the Waldmann is very, very different. So I would sort of like slide that whole Waldmann thing a little bit towards here, so that would be centered. You know, I mean, like that's like a, you know, kind of OCD guy like me just notices stuff like that straight away. And I think for a 200 euro pen, that simply shouldn't be there. And another thing that also bothers me a little bit is this engraving surface here. I completely get that if you would like the pen engraved, you need to have that. But you know, if you don't want the pen engraved, you probably don't always want to stare at like this blank surface here, breaking this otherwise very beautiful pattern. So what I would actually like the company is, you know, just make two different caps, right? One with that blank surface for people who want a pen engraved, then it makes sense. And then one where the whole cap looks like this for people that don't want the pen engraved, to actually still have a really nice pen without this fingerprint magnet surface right here. Having all that said, this is of course complaining on a very high level, but I wanted to point it out because in the end it is you who need to make the judgment whether or not this Waldmann Concorde, which actually otherwise is a fantastic pen and a stellar writer, is for you or not. Guys, I hope this review was useful to you, and I'll see you at the next review, probably with another Waldmann pen. Ciao, ciao.